Hello and welcome back to our study of Peninei Halacha, the teachings of Rabbi Eliezer Melamed Shlita. Hope everyone is having a good day so far. Please continue davening for Chaylei Tzvagan Yisrael, for Shalom L'chol Petzuei Yisrael, and a safe return of our hostages. We learn each day L'ili Nishmat Seren Daniel Shimon ben Harav Dernon V'Sheli Shamikum Damo. We are switching gears a little bit. It's a new section. It's section Vav in the Sefer. Still in Hilchos Tefillah, the entire Sefer is Hilchos Tefillah, so hopefully we'll be able to spend quite a bit of time on this. But the next section is about Nusach and Menageh HaEdus. So, Shinei HaNusachim. B'kvos HaGalios, Ufizur HaKihilus, Notzru Havdelim Bein Nuschos HaTefillah Shel Eidos HaShonos. So throughout all the periods of exile and communities spreading all over the world, so there arose differences in the Nusach Hatefillah between different disciplines or different communities or different influences. So when we say the word Nusach, we refer to how we daven, the language that we use when we daven. One would think that it's universal, but in fact, it's actually not. We'll see some of the differences. But when it comes to the main parts of Tefillah, that which was instituted by the men of the Great Assembly, so when it comes to the brachas of Kriya Shema or Shmona Esrei, which were instituted from the beginning of the onset of Tefillah, from the time of Anshe Knesset Agdola, the differences are very slight, not that major. And even in the order of the Karbanos or Psukei D'Zimra, which comes a little bit later than Anshe Knesset Agdola, it's the time of the Gemara, the time of the Gaonim, there are also minor differences. But if you look already in the Middle Ages, in the period of the Rishonim, and things that were added on, maybe some things, the order of the Karbanos, or things that we say at the end of davening, so there we have a little bit more obvious differences between the different communities. So whatever was added in Spain was not necessarily added in Germany, and vice versa. So when we say Sfarad Ashkenaz, Sfarad is Spain and Ashkenaz is Germany, but from there stems Sephardic custom and Ashkenazic custom as we are accustomed to know it. Particularly, it's more pronounced with the paragraphs, the piyutim, that were included in the period of the Gaonim and the Rishonim, again already to the Middle Ages, and then they were inserted in the Tefillah on the high holidays, on Yom Noraim, Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, and also on Yontif. So those who do recite piyutim, if your congregation does recite those extra paragraphs, those liturgical, poetic paragraphs, so you'll find a huge difference between Ashkenaz and Sfard. So one, you ask, well, how should I daven? You should daven how your father davened. And even if a particular nusach perhaps is more precise, perhaps speaks to you more, but nevertheless, one should daven what one's father davened. The continuation of Masorah, of tradition, particularly in your family, is more important than perhaps understanding particular words or what you might think is particularly important with this word or that word or this paragraph or that paragraph. This is based on Yerushalmi in Eruvin. Be'er ha'ari ha'kadosh, legabe shinei hanuschachim shebein Sfardim Ashkenazim. The Arizal explain that regarding the nusach between Sephardim and Ashkenazim shekibla biyadena that we have now in our hands today, sheyesh b'rekia shneim asar chalonos keneged shneim asar shiftei Yisrael. Again, this is getting a little bit Kabbalistic, as you can imagine from the Arizal, but in the heavens or in the Rekia, there are 12 windows that correspond to 12 tribes in Israel. Utfilas kol shevet v'shevet ola derech sha'ar echad hamichad lo, and the prayer of each tribe goes into its appropriate window. And this, if you look at the end of the book of Yecheskel, this is the secret of the 12 gates that are mentioned. This is found in Shar HaKavanos if you want to look into that a little bit further. Even the way we pronounce the Hebrew letters. There are differences between the communities. Some how you actually enunciate the letters of certain words. Kamo bitsadi v'kuf, whether it's how you say it, tzadi or a kuf. So I'll give you for an answer. For example, if you go to a Taimani community, Yemenite community, we say ayin. They have a much more guttural sound to it. It's more like ayin. You could really feel that in there. V'chein legabi hanikot, and also the way the vowelization goes. Kamo b'kamat v'cholam. So in Sephardic communities, or you wouldn't say now in Israeli, kamat is kamat always. There's never, in Ashkenazi community, we say komat with an a as opposed to an a or a cholam or an o sound, how that sounds. Therefore, every community should follow their custom. However, if you daven the different nusach, you're still yotze. Because anyway, you pronounce the letters and the words are all kosher l'tefillah. And he quotes here a tshuva from Ramosha Feinstein, which is found in Igros Moshe in Archaim Chelek Gimel Siman Hey. A lot to be said about this, because especially now when we daven in a shul in America where you have a combination of multiple nuschos. So in Israel, it's much more pronounced. If you're going to be in a Sephardic shul, it's going to be a Sephardic davening. You're not going to have gam v'gam. If you're going to be in an Ashkenazi shul, and even though Nusach in Israel is much more complicated than it is here in America, but in America, you find very, very differentiating in how people daven, and therefore, especially when somebody gets up to the Amud, which we'll see how one should handle that. But an interesting topic nonetheless. Thank you so much for listening. Please continue davening for Chalei Tzvagan Yisrael, for Shalom and Chol Petzua Yisrael, and safe return of our hostages. Nishmat Seren Daniel Shemana Rav Jerome Michelle Yishem Pedemo. Thank you so much for learning with us each and every day. Have a great day. We'll see you here tomorrow.